Welcome to I Change the Narrative, a podcast for and about Black men inspiring, supporting, and empowering Black men and Black boys. Before we start the conversation, I want to ask our guests to tell us about yourself and the work that you're involved in that lends itself to the topic or the lived experience. Coach B.
Yes, ma'am. How you doing?
I'm awesome. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Um, I'm happy to be here today. Coach B from Tampa, Florida. I've been in this business for quite a while. As far as my agency, I just started my personal agency this year. For doing therapy, I'm huge in the community. I love us so much, and when it comes to preventing, suicide, trying to help with childhood trauma, trying to help with men's emotional management, trying to help our women, our female counterparts when it comes to just putting out better husbands out there, putting out better providers out there, putting out better fathers out there. I feel that's my calling. And that's one of the main reasons I went back to school. So now I'm here and better than ever just to try to lead the rally forward in the Black community, starting with the men first.
Awesome. Awesome work. Thank you so much. This episode is powered by Position to Prosper, where Position to Prosper Coaching offers individual, group, life, and business coaching. They'll help you to discover your purpose, develop your plan, and dominate in your industry. Visit www.positioned2prospercoaching.com, or you can call 410-929-61111 to schedule your consultation today. So our topic is Black boys, Black men, and suicide.
Yep.
And before we get started in the conversation, I want to go over a few of the facts about Black boys and suicide and Black men and suicide. So on the boys' side, Black boys are increasingly likely to attempt suicide than Black girls, who have more ideation than attempts. Black boys are engaging in more lethal means when attempting suicide than Black girls, which has increased by 122% between 1997 and 2017. So Black boys are twice as likely to die by suicide than white youth.
Yeah.
And on the other side of Black men and suicide, recent research has observed that Caribbean Black men in the U.S. have the highest attempt rate for the African American community.
Yeah.
Firearms were the predominant method of suicide among African Americans, regardless of sex or age suicides. Suffocation was the second most prevalent method.
Wow.
Exactly. And in 2014, 80% of suicide deaths in the Black community were men. So this is why I felt it was very important to have this conversation.
Yeah.
Not only did some of our viewers ask for this conversation, but the stats are speaking very loud and clear. And it is a conversation that I think that we don't speak enough on.
Yeah.
So, Coach B,
Yes, ma'am.
let's talk about some of the typical signs of suicide in our Black men.
It can be a number of things. It's hard, but it can definitely be a number of things. Some of the signs is growing up in the Black community, just in that culture that we grew up in. A lot of Black men growing up suffer from PTSD, depression, anxiety, and also some of the risk factors in that dynamic is racism, police brutality, childhood trauma, growing up in a single parent household, of course, childhood trauma, survivor's guilt, and also the lack of understanding of healthy versus unhealthy coping skills and behaviors. A lot of us, when we grow up in that neighborhood or around those elements, we are exposed to just that behaviorism, that just whatever's going on around us, we adapt to it. If it's negativity, we're going to lean towards more negativity, and you always have that one diamond in the rough, or that one anomaly that just kind of makes it out, or that kind of gets out unscathed, but that's few and far in between, so I try my best to meet my clients where they are. And a lot of them, again, that's in this in this culture, has PTSD. They have depression,
Mm.
suffer from depression, major depression disorders. They have anxiety disorders, and it's almost like that, just that snowball to just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's just not enough of help or services out there to just kind of cut it off at the root. It's not enough. I can do what I can do, but it's just not enough, but I'm gonna still, of course, help, do what I can, speak as much as I can with those individuals, and I try to meet them at ground level, at youth level,
Right.
but at the end of the day, when the damage is done, between their 20s, 30s, and sometimes even 40s, they come to my platform, they reach out, and I just try to meet them where they are and try to get them to unlearn the unnecessary things that they did learn back in the day, and now rebuild their foundation and then relearn it the right way. And that's one of the hardest things to do. But of course, I'm willing to help out in that process.
Thank you so much. Um, I just want to say to our listeners, for the purposes of this conversation um, that we're having, I want us to discuss and to be able to recognize in family members and friends and those of us that we care about around us. I want us to, zero in and recognize some of those undetected signs of suicide ideation among Black boys and Black men. I think that's important because we need to do a better job of really listening to our Black men and our Black boys, really tapping into what they're feeling. And so I want us to also, for this purposes of this conversation, um, allow us to figure out ways to offer support to reduce suicide ideation
Yeah.
outside of therapy. And then I want us to, as a community, how can we help reduce suicidal deaths, of course, amongst our Black boys and Black men? So let's discuss, Coach B, undetected signs. Now, I think we need to break it down: undetected signs in Black boys, as well as undetected signs in Black men, because there may be a difference.
Um, it the one of the biggest signs is just I would say when it comes to men, it's always they act out. A lot of men that I seen when I was working on the suicide prevention floor at one of the major hospitals here, they was
Mm.
always acting out. It was a huge change in their behavior. Um, they just was tired of what was going on around them, almost like life itself had just become so painful to deal with. And they voice these opinion, they voice these things to so many people around them. Like, I'm tired of not getting a job, or I'm tired of the police always bothering me, or I'm tired of not being enough to our female counterparts, or I'm tired of not being enough to my mama that just kicked me out, that had to deal with me all my life, and I looked just like my daddy, or I'm tired of not getting the job, or I'm tired of not being just a financial savvy one in the family, it's just, again, it goes downhill from there. And once they start dabbling into either drugs or just fall into a deeper depression,
Mhm.
that's when they kind of go quiet or numb, and that's when they actually, um, that's when it actually happened at that point. But the ones that kind of just that still, say stuff, or they still kind of acting out, they're throwing signs and signals that they want to commit suicide, or they may commit suicide, but they're still on the side of, let me just act. It's like that grown up temper tantrum. Let me act out so someone can see me, or so someone can, help me. It's kind of like just scream. They're just screaming out for help, and they don't know how to get that help, because again, the healthcare system is terrible with rendering that help. In our culture, we're terrible about um, uh, giving them services or helping them with some type of therapeutic services or inpatient or outpatient services. So we don't really believe in that for the most part in our culture. So they're not getting the services that they need. They're not in the proper environment that they need to be in, and they're around abusive, toxic people, and it just doesn't help. So that's one of that's some of the signs I see when it comes to adults. Now, when it comes to children growing up in that environment, it's just more so of the peer pressure now of and in adults is about getting a job or being successful in the family, and kids is about what they see on social media, them not being um, with them not being a part of just having the new gear or having the new trendy stuff, or feeling like they fit in, um, them not feeling like they're enough. Still, racism is still huge in the community when it comes to kids. I have two boys right now, and that just recently went to high school, and it's still somewhat there, and I still see with them. I see the peer pressure amongst their peers, and I see how it's a little bit different from when I was a kid, but now it's just more so technology based now. The kids now are more quiet. I have a lot of kids again, um, that was in the suicide prevention unit. When I went to the kid side, with the adolescent side, it was more so those kids that was on suicide watch. They were very, very quiet. They really didn't act out too much. um, they didn't know they had this whole entire world going on in their mind and how they're interpreting it, and a lot of what they think and feel of how they see things actually happen is kind of wrong or backwards. And they're not talking to anybody about it. They may interpret something wrong, or they may, hey, my mom won't let me do this, she hates me. No, she don't hate you, she just can't afford it. But if no one is explaining this to them, and the mom or even the dad is just yelling and screaming, and the way they are communicating to these kids is just in an abusive manner, it's just not going to help. So me coming in with a different approach, still being able to um, relate to them, but I come in totally different from mom and dad, or totally different from your environment. Again, same environment I came from, I can help jump over that wall with you. I can help you get comfortable a little bit faster, to where it's like, man, wow, Coach B, you get it. You understand me. You hear me. I don't feel like you're just talking at me. I feel like you're really talking to understand. I feel like you're really pouring into me, versus making me feel worse than what I already feel about how I feel. So that's some of the differences between the two. But again, growing up in that culture, eventually the kids are going to kind of turn into how the adults are,
Right.
because it's the same type of it's the same exact environment.
Wow. Wow.
Hmm.
I think I work with Black boys, and I think one of the signs that I typically see within some of those young boys that have expressed some suicide ideation is they're very withdrawn,
Yep.
and they are also, I believe I noticed with one of the kids, this is years ago, there was a change in his music. It became very dark. And when that music changed, I noticed that his grades changed. I'm a former teacher. So I noticed that he was very smart, but his grades went from A's to failing, and he just did not care anymore. Eventually, yes, he got help, but I think as I began to learn him, I saw those mood changes, and, he became,
Yeah.
he was a very expressive student, but then he became very withdrawn, as like I said before, but less expressive in his writing. So I think that's something that stood out to me. Um, Let me ask you, why is it challenging for our Black men to ask for help?
Um, that's a good question. When just growing up, we're just we just do everything on, like when I grew up in a single parent household,
Mhm.
and it's not too many people that's around to help. First of all, you're the man of the house. I became the man of the house. I was always the man of the house. I never lived with the actual man, a father. So it's
Hmm.
you do it. Hey, you go fix this. You figure it out. I remember I have the burn mark on my stomach now, still to this day. I remember ironing clothes for my mother at 6 years old, and I was just like, I'm not really tall enough to reach it. And she was, getting ready for work, doing what she do. And she like, you figure it out, like you do it. And I didn't know what to do or how to take that, so I tried to figure it out, stand on something, kind of wobbling, and and I remember the iron. I'm standing on something in the iron, um, at the edge of the ironing board. I'm ironing her clothes, and it rubbed across my stomach, and it made a huge burn mark.
Hmm.
You know, and when it happened, it wasn't really that compassion and that love. It was more so, what happened? You'll be all right. Just do the bottom and you good.
Right.
And just from that alone, it, like, so many situations like that, it made me feel like I have to figure things out. No matter what's going on, I can be hurt, bleeding, in this situation, burnt. She's about to go to work in 5 minutes, and I'm about to be home by myself. I'm about to be dropped off to my grandmother's house or whatnot. So just growing up in that environment, it just made me feel like I can't ask for help. I'm not built to ask for help. And then if I do, who's going to help me? Because everybody around me is struggling. Nobody has money. Nobody's driving in a nice car. Nobody's really figuring it out. Everybody's arguing, yelling, cussing, fussing, fighting about everything. So why would I go to them to help when they can't even help with their own problems, issues, concerns, and questions? So growing up in that, you grow numb to it, and it's normal not to go ask for help. It's normal not to, when you're really struggling, like
Mhm.
when you're really, like a black person has to be almost put out their house for them to say, hey, auntie, I need, hey, can I come over? It just doesn't happen, in growing up, after adolescent stages, it just kind of sticks on you. Like, we don't ask for help, we don't cry, we don't complain, because again, when we ask for help, that means we're complaining, or we can't figure it out. And as a man in our community, the ones who doesn't ask for help, they're the ones that can figure it out. That's what a real man is. But I was definitely misled and terribly mistaken, because I would love to, of course, in that same environment, ask for help. Hey, listen, if you can't do it, please ask. If you need a little bit of help, just ask.
You mentioned growing numb to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear a lot of the students that I worked with, and they say, "Oh, Miss Williams, I'm numb to it now. It doesn't
Yeah.
bother me." How can we stop that? Stop being numb, stop using that as an excuse. How can we get out of that mentality? Because that's not healthy for us.
Nope, it's not healthy at all. We have to unlearn it, then relearn. But it's hard because we're in the environments. You you like you say, you was a teacher, and your students would say this, right?
Mhm.
And you would say, don't say that. That's not healthy. That's not right, the right way of thinking. But you see this kid for a 30 to an hour block, or let's say all day, but
Mhm.
they still have to go home and live in that environment. they're still in that environment all weekend and all summer, and it's worse at home. You're getting the cleaner version of what's really going on at home.
Right.
So if that's their reality and that's what they are growing into, hopefully you can make a difference. Hopefully you something you say may stick. But again, a year after year after year, you're talking to so many different kids. Sorry about that.
That's okay. That's okay. Bring her on. So while Coach B is speaking to his child, we want to shout out Position to Prosper Coaching, where Position to Prosper Coaching offers individual, group life, and business coaching. They'll help you discover your purpose, develop your plan, and dominate in your industry. Visit them at www.position, the number 2 prosper coaching.com, or you can call 410-929-6111 to schedule your consultation today. Coach B.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry about that.
That's okay. That's okay.
It's as far as um in that, like I said, in that environment, it's hard to just um change that narrative or change that mind state because we're not living in these environments with these kids. We
Mhm.
only we drive our nice cars to work. We have our nice clothes on. We smell good. We feel good. We look good. We do our job great. But you, sometimes you're just not going to affect those kids in a way that is going to change their behavior. That's going to change their minds, their mindset, and it's hard. The teachers have a hard job because they're kind of climbing uphill or fighting uphill. But these kids, they have to go right back into that environment that that no coping skills are in that environment.
Mhm.
No one is exercising patience and love and appreciation and gratitude, and no one's doing that, and that's they're being trained subconsciously like this from 0 months
Yeah.
all the way to the what 20. By the time they come to therapy, maybe
Mhm.
26, 27.
Right.
So for 25 years, you've been thinking away and feeling away, and your environment has changed just how you are, or it kind of molded you how you are, and it just pushed you out into society. And the only way I can say we can change that is we start early.
Right.
We start therapy, not like, hey, my son is something is wrong with him, but
Right.
no, just putting services in place like more summer camps or more, at-risk youth camps or more big brother, big sister programs or
Right.
just more group engagements or
Mhm.
healthy mom and son or mom and dad and kids engagements in the community that we can just kind of come together and learn healthier skills
Right.
on how to teach the kids how to study or how to manage their emotion or how to manage stress or anxiety or depression. We need more services for these kids.
I agree. I agree. I asked you earlier about why don't Black men ask for help? I think as I'm looking and thinking about certain situations, I think that a lot of Black men deal with shame and guilt
Yep.
due to the expectations of being a Black male,
Hmm.
as well as intergenerational trauma. Um, we don't have time to be weak, suck it up. That kind of mentality that they're used to hearing from their parents and then the uncles and then the granddads and things of that because of what they've experienced. Now they're hearing what the parents and whoever's come before them, they're hearing that same kind of, I hate to say it is what it is. It's negative talk, the suck it
Hmm.
up, man up. I think those are some of the reasons why that they don't ask for help. That narrative is silently but loudly playing in their heads. And I think that, you know, to me in our community, we're always talking about about suicide as an afterthought
Mm-hmm.
instead of talking about it like right now in this space.
Mm-hmm. And
Um,
yeah, and it's bigger. It's way bigger than
mhm,
that. And that's just on the adolescent kid stage. Once you get older, some they're still going through that same thing. Now we have childhood trauma on top of the cost of mental health. I'm not going to that therapist. They cost too much. I don't have good insurance. Family shames them. Family or the church shames them into going to seek a mental health therapist.
mhm,
The cultural stigma behind a mental health therapist, the lack of diversity in the mental health, the healthcare system. They don't see too many people like. That's why I put the content out there like that,
mhm,
so that people say, "Hey, touchdown therapy, Coach B. Listen, if this mental health thing may not be too bad, I might go talk to him, you
right.
know, because my content is totally different from how I actually am as again, I love laughing, I love, being humorous, but when
Yes.
it comes to the nuts and bolts of what we really need to work on to move this needle forward,
Mhm,
I get down to business, and I take a person's mental health or our people mental. I take it very serious. I do not play with that at all whatsoever.
right.
So I want to invite people in to say, you know what, I can talk to him. If I sat down with Coach B, I can open up to him a little bit more because he's part of the culture. I feel like he can understand me a lot more, as I am and who I am, and I won't feel judged. So that's another reason.
Mhm,
And again, there's plenty of other reasons out there that again, us men, we just not gonna come.
mhm.
Hmm.
That's what we have to change.
Yep.
You have to go. You have to go. Um, so my next question is, how do we create spaces, more spaces for our Black boys and our Black men to talk about these types of subjects, especially the suicide thing?
Um, just again, from my side, it's just more so creating a space that they can even come talk to me. Period. You
Mhm,
know, because Black men, heterosexual men, we make up 0.4% of all therapists in the United States.
mhm,
So we are few and far in between. And when you, let's say, in the Tampa area, we
mhm,
may have maybe 3 or 4 therapists, Black therapists, maybe 5. And out of that 5, which ones look like you would want to go talk to them? So it's definitely slim pickings. It's like, which one would get me? Which one, you know? But me is just more so creating this space
mhm,
and just trying to have group therapy sessions as much as possible going into the community. But we just need, I think, more so the higher ups, or even in the if I can get into the education system, like say in Tampa, Hillsborough County education system, if they were to back the therapists,
mhm,
and bring us either into the schools or be able to advertise us as much as possible to get us in front of these kids and these families and as much as possible, that
right,
would be great,
right.
because we're doing it on our own. We're really not in the education system. We're really, how the education system works with the mental health. They have therapists there at the school, but are they culturally appropriate? What are they allowed to do? What are they allowed to say? Are they really helping? And I think they're really just there for more so the behavioral
Mhm,
challenge kids versus the kids that has no behavior issues, no behavior problems, concerns, or questions at all, but they're really at home suffering.
mhm,
How can you get to that person? So I from my standpoint, just open up my platform a little bit more.
mhm,
Um, Pick days throughout the week or the month to where I can just host different either seminars or events for the youth. Of
mhm,
course, I'm not going to get a lot of people there, kids there, talking about the issues and their problems, but
right,
being able to just have that type of audience to where, hey, if you guys want to set up a group therapy session, we can do that. Let's sign up. If you guys want to do individual therapy, that's cool with me. We have that. Or if you guys need a woman therapist, we have that as well. So
Right.
that's the main thing that I'm trying to do. But I can't do it all. I can't do it by myself. Um,
Right.
so I just try to partner with as many people as possible, and again, just do what I know how to do best.
What are some of the do's or don'ts when approaching someone who is considering suicide? If they're over the phone, if they're in person, what are some of those things that we should be mindful of?
I'm not blaming them, not making them feel worse about about what they feel and how they feel. Not um, um, the word I'm looking for. It's like whenever I heard this before, I'm not being validating, because again, we're not going to all agree on the reasons why these kids or adults want to commit suicide. Of course, we're not going to agree. Of
Right.
course, it's like, why would you do that? Why, of course, that's the easy thing, of course. But
Right.
we can't be like that or say things like that in those moments. Again, let's meet them where they are. Let's come in, of course, let's come in softer, um,
Mm.
um, giving them room to talk, giving them space to process, um, coming in just with open arms and nurturing and less abrasive. I know a lot of us we just never been in that situation before to where we don't even know how to handle it. We just
Right.
rather let somebody else handle it. What
Right.
I've been seeing in our culture, so being less abrasive in those situations and being more nurturing
Right.
and coming down to their level and trying to figure out how you can help them or what it is you can do to help them or what services you need to surround them with, because as parents sometimes we're not equipped with what they need, and that's okay. But as long as you can put them around those services that they need, that's going to make so much difference in their upbringing or in this pivotal moment in their life.
Right.
um what we so that's some of the do's and the don'ts, you
Hmm.
know
So, what I hear you saying is to listen
of course.
to them and to be gentle
Yes.
to them during this time.
Yes.
I think this conversation is a great conversation because, of course, a lot of people, a lot of our Black men, they around this time during the holidays is getting ready to come up, Thanksgiving and Christmas, and that's very hard for
Yeah.
some of our Black men and even
Yeah.
some of our Black boys, because they no longer have the grandmother, the auntie that was
Hmm.
there, and a lot of people have lost a lot of individuals around this that time. So
Yep.
I think this conversation is definitely needed, not just because of the Thanksgiving is coming up and Christmas is coming up, but this it's needed. Period. That's it. It's
Yep.
needed.
It's needed. This is a year round, but of
Hmm.
course around this time is needed. But
Right.
listen, year round is needed.
One of the things that I was looking on TikTok, and I was reminded of Twitch. He was on executive producer on Ellen show,
Yes, ma'am.
and that hit our community hard
Yep.
because there seemed to be no signs. Now I don't know if his wife had experienced some signs prior to. However, I heard someone say that people don't just commit suicide to commit suicide. They want to end the pain.
Yes.
There's some pain there, and that is
Yes.
what the suicide is about.
Hmm.
Um, what are your thoughts on that situation and the comment of ending the pain?
That was a tough situation,
Hmm.
because it was tough in many ways. If I just kind of just break that situation down if I put myself in a black boy's shoes, looking up at Twitch as a role model,
Hmm.
someone that I feel as a black boy has it together.
Hmm.
Beautiful family, beautiful wife, and he's made it on this platform. I don't remember too many black men being on the Ellen show, being on that type of stage. So
Right.
something he's doing is right. I want to follow his blueprint and what he's doing. And then he ends it all. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, what did that teach us? Like, wow,
Mm-hmm.
that I think that was a blow to our community.
Mm-hmm.
No matter who he was with or who he was married to, but just him being a black man in our community, that was a major blow. Because what did it teach us? What did it teach the black boys? So when we have it all, this man is a millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
He has all the cars or the house or he's on TV. He's on TV every single day,
Right.
and he can't figure life out to just deal with his problems, issues, and concerns. So he just commit suicide and just that's it. you
Mm-hmm.
know and of course that's not it. Of course that's not what we do. That's not what we do at all whatsoever. But again, to go back to what I said before,
Mm-hmm.
it's the pain that comes with it.
Yeah.
Who knows what he was going through? Who knows if the pressure of fame was getting to him? Who
Mm-hmm.
knows if the pressure of being that one kid that made it out of all of it was getting to him, and everybody just kind of trying to reach at his foot, his pan legs, and just asking him for. Who knows if that was the case?
Mm-hmm.
I heard that he was making TikToks up until a few hours of him even committing suicide with his
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
That was a so there's no signs and symptoms there like that people are being alarmed that
Right.
that it's just it was just nothing there.
Yeah.
And we have to be mindful of that. We think it's the behavior issues. Oh, this kid is having major behavior issues. I think we need to give him certain. What about the kid that's not having any behavior issues, that's
Mm-hmm.
actually doing great?
Mm-hmm.
What about that one? you know are we just kind of have those kids just lost in the sauce? We just the less behavior issues a kid has, the less we pay attention to them. Like, no, we need to pay attention to everybody.
Yeah.
We need to uh be able to give everyone that safe space to process their feelings,
Mm-hmm.
process their emotions, process their concerns, ask those open-ended questions. We don't care how crazy they may sound or how off the wall they may sound, but the way these kids articulate these things, we need to, as parents, hear those things.
Mm-hmm.
We need to hear you say how you feel about me and your dad's splitting up, or how you feel about me and your dad's shaky marriage, or how you feel about, your mom being just me and you, just by ourselves. How you feel about that? Or how
Mm-hmm.
you feel about your dad's new girlfriend? How you feel about my new boyfriend? How
Mm-hmm.
you feel about us having to change schools? Because how do you feel about this stuff? We don't ask the kids how they feel. We do what we want to do, and it's our way or the highway or the no. Again, we're gonna do what we need to do to, of course, support our children and do what's best for them. But can we just ask the question? Can we just see what they feel as well? Get their input, and I think that's something that we just don't do.
Yeah. While you're talking, I'm reminded, going over some things that, even though my son is in grad school,
Yes, ma'am.
I always ask him, just checking in, how's your mental health? I think that's important that we check in with our kids. How's your mental health? How is your spiritual health? How is your physical health? They may sound stupid, they may sound repetitive to our children, but it's important because that opens up communication. And
Yes.
just as we do with our children, I think that we also need to do with our peers.
Yes.
Um, People get tired of people asking, well, how are you? I'm always going to say great. However, there may be that day where I'm really not feeling great. So I think it's important
Yes.
that we check in with, our community around us to always have that conversation going, because you
Yes, ma'am.
never know, again, what can open up. Any last thoughts, Coach B, on this subject of suicide? Anything you want to say to our listeners? Things that, anything?
Anyone that's feeling, suicidal, of course, homicidal as well, or that feels like they just need help, reach out. Please reach out. Talk to someone.
Mhm.
You know, of course, I'm going to probably plug plug my social media and how to reach out to me here soon, but just reach out to someone, because we're so conditioned to say, I'm good, I'm all right, I'll figure it out. But a lot of times, I would say, if I had to think, growing up, if someone was to ask me, "Are you good?" Looking back at it, I was never good. Like never. I was never good. Wow. Capital N, never good at all. Of course, I had good moments, and I had a good day at church with my grandma, or but as a whole, it was always something missing in my life that I always felt was there, but I did not know how to articulate that to my mom, or to my grandma and granddad, or to my uncles, or to my sister. I didn't know how to say it at all. But once I got to college and I was able to reflect and process what had just happened to me as a child growing up, I look back and I say, I was never good. I was always feeling some type of way. And the things that I was feeling, once I learned about it, I was depressed. Like I was depressed. At times I wasn't able to sleep at night, full of anxiety. Now I knew that was anxiety. I was stressed out, as a kid. I was feeling these things as a kid. So if I had to had a person say, "Hey, are you good?" Of course I would still say, "I'm good, I'm fine, auntie, or I'm fine, uncle, I'm good, I'll figure it out." But those times, if they kept asking me, it would have had to have been a time to where I say, "Nah, I am not good today. I am not feeling it today. I am in my feelings today. I am emotionally activated today. I am acting out today because I haven't seen my mom in 2 months, and I need to know what's going on, and nobody telling me anything." So we need to reach out for help. Not because we're crazy, not just to get some stuff off your chest. It may be a few sessions you may need, or it may be longer, but let's have the conversation.
Right. And let's come into some truth with our feelings.
Yes.
I think that's very important. Truth, coming into that truth. Coach B, thank you for your time.
Yes, ma'am.
But before we go, tell our listeners how they can connect with you.
You can reach me on, of course, TikTok and also Instagram under Touchdown Therapy, all one word, Touchdown Therapy. Put those two words together, and once you type it in, I'm going to be Coach B. You will see the symbol like this on my icon on my social media. Once you go on there, my direct phone number is on there if you need to just reach out, or my touchdowntherapy.com. You can go to my website. It's on my social media platforms. But once you click on the website, you will go down and fill out an inquiry. You will fill out your name, number, email, and the city and state that you live in. And I either me or my assistant will get back to you as soon as possible. But check out the content, like it, share it, comment, and we can interact on there. Let's have a good time. But again, reach out to me. If you have any friends or family members that need to reach out to me, send them my content as well, or fill out an inquiry for them to where I can reach out to them.
Yes. Make sure you all connect with him on TikTok. He has some funny videos. Not only are they serious, but some of those are funny as well.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate you.
He is an actor on his these videos. Thank you for highlighting your experiences and your expertise, for doing your part in changing the narrative, and lastly, for keeping your commitment by being a part of the show. That means a lot to us.
Yes, ma'am.
For merchandise, visit iChangeTheNarrative.org. Thank you to our sponsors, Positioned to Prosper Coaching. And we can't forget to shout out So Organic, So Suave. You can follow Sauce on Instagram. And don't forget to follow us on TikTok and IG, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at iChangeTheNarrative. That's all one word. We've added a weekday pop-up segment, and we'll see you soon. Thank you all for listening. Thank you.